Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Ahmedabad Management Association, I have great pleasure in welcoming you to this evening talk on how to meet numbers. I think most of you are in business probably here, and all of us know that business is a numbers game, and meeting numbers is what we do day in and day out. And so we might ask the question, we have been doing this job for so many years, why the hell are we having a talk on how to meet numbers? This is a job we do every day in our life as part of the business. But then I came across Raman, who is my senior at IIM Ahmedabad, 1 year senior to me at IIM Ahmedabad. And he has come up with something called the flash approach. Okay, I think when he describes what the flash approach is, I think probably you would say, some of you might say, hey, we knew about it. Some of you would say, this is a different approach. But that's something you have to listen to him, what he is going to talk about this, how to meet numbers. Now, Raman Nanda, after pausing out from IIM Ahmedabad, he has worked in multiple organizations in different capacities. He has got a commerce qualification, is a BCom, and then he had done MBA, and then later on he was CFO, then CMO, and so many CXO, I would say, because he has occupied different CXO positions, so I don't want to list all of them. And as he himself told me, that being with a commerce background, I've been trying to be a top managerial position in technology companies. So he worked in number of years in the Tata Group, in Tata Auto Components business, and then some other units of Tata. And then he went to Tube Investments company, TI Group, Murugappa Group, and again all of them were engineering companies. But in spite of his commerce background, he had reached the top management position, and he was managing a top managerial position. That shows his all because I think he knew the secret of how to meet numbers, and I think we have to learn those secrets from him today. And apart from that, he has been a faculty member of the Flame University in Pune, and he has been an advisor to many family businesses, and he is also advisor to many other organizations, big and small. And in between, he was also CEO of a European multinational in India. So I think with this kind of background, I think I'm sure that he has got a lot of experience to share, and now he is running his own organization called Captain's Club, and where he conducts management development programs for MDs and CEOs. He will talk about the program himself, so I don't want to preempt him on that. And with these few words, I would like to welcome my dear friend, my senior, and the speaker for this evening, Raman Nanda, with a small flower and a small memento. Now I would invite Raman to make his presentation and share his views with you. Hi, Raman.
So good evening everyone. थोड़ा जोर से. Good evening. Am I audible at the end? Yes. Okay. Great. थोड़ा echo है थोड़ा सा कम कर. So after such a wonderful description, I think many of those adjectives, I don't think I deserve them. I'm really happy to see a house full of people who want to learn. So you could have spent this evening in many other ways, but the fact that you are here to learn is something wonderful and great for me. So, like Raja mentioned, I am a person with a finance background who's worked in HR, who's worked in marketing. I've had opportunities to construct plants, run operations. So you could call me, maybe one way is a confused person. Another way, more charitably, is that I've had the chance to work in all the functions. So I'm able to understand the interconnection between various things. So I'd like to, during the course of the next 1 hour, present my thoughts to you, and I'm sure you'll have some good takeaways from what I share with you. So the most important thing for any one of us today is learning. So, and I see so many senior people here, and therefore, and of course, the season is IPL, so therefore, I thought a picture which gets us into the IPL mood will also be helpful to put a context. So many of you are decision makers. So a simple question, do decision makers need to learn? Yes, no? Yes? Yes? And that's why all of you are here. The second question is, if it's a yes, then how many of us do it? Okay, self-appraisal, so okay, 30%. So, so that's a very honest self-appraisal, and I love it, because normally, I would have raised both my hands for such an answer, but you are being honest, so I love it. So the next question which comes about is, how do we do it? What are the different ways to learn? So just a thought, because I'm going to ask a little bit of participation from your side. So how do we learn? Yes, sir. PDCA. Okay. Plan, do, check, act. Okay. Anyone else? How do we learn? For example, I learn from my children. For me, they are my teachers. They know so much about technology, what the world is coming to, what the new consumer wants, and so on. So I urge all of us to think, how are we learning? And maybe there are new ways, different ways. Whenever you meet someone, yes, sir, you raise your hand. From failure. So let's give a hand to that. That's wonderful. I think you should very soon be here, and I'll be sitting there. So that's wonderful. So, and of course, how should we do it? It's a should. So there are many ways we can do it. It's all up to us in our particular situation. But frankly, as so many statistics and studies show, many jobs are going to be not there in a few years from now. For example, people who are doing work which can easily be done by ChatGPT, or there are many other ways AI can take over. We should not underestimate that. So therefore, if we don't keep on learning, we are going to be in a problem. So I'll leave a few thoughts for your consideration. So the first is, leadership is lonely. So it's very important for us to find our tribe. We need to find out who could be other CEOs or CXOs or business owners, and have a community. And AMA is doing a wonderful job. I think let's give a hand to AMA itself for making sure that we are building collective wisdom. So otherwise, without that, as I said, leadership is lonely. So if we are belonging to some organization and we feel supported, it could be whichever way that we construct our tribe, but that's important. The second thing is, in whatever we are doing, are we ensuring we are staying relevant? Because technology, environment, circumstances, the law, the global situation is so much changing. So my question is, if you want to scale up, when did you last upgrade yourself? Because if you don't upgrade yourself, hello, someone else, which means your competition is doing it. And very soon you will be not so relevant, or you will be far behind in the race, whichever race that you want to run. So keep looking at upgrading, or you are stagnating. And stagnating in today's world is equal to death. So I don't think you want to look too much at theory, because you can download anything from YouTube. So my objective today is not to do that, but in a little bit background about Captain's Club that I'll give, we really make you solve real problems, and I'll share from something more on that. The gentleman at the back spoke about failures, and sometimes you can learn from successes also of your fellow colleagues, CEOs or others. So Einstein has a favorite quote that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you're not learning from the failures and successes, you are where you are. So learn from the expensive mistakes of others and avoid making them yourself to the extent that you can. So I would say, I would come to the end that in your team, your organization, most important is that you groom leaders to really grow your company, because that's the only way. And very often, people in my generation, they think, ये आजकल के बच्चे सुबह 9-10 बजे उठते हैं, रात को 4 बजे तक क्या करते हैं मालूम नहीं, they are lazy, they are this, they are that. So I hear this so much from many people. I have the opposite view. I think these are the people who have the skills for tomorrow. These are the people who have the potential for tomorrow. It's up to us to engage them, whether in a family business or in an office. The Gen Z and the millennials, that's where the real talent lies. So we need to change our mindset, including mine. I am also often, making the same mistake. So you can only grow when you grow your team and you then outperform competition. If you don't have a team which is got enough bandwidth, you are having a problem. So with that background, I'll come and share a few slides about the Captain's Club, which is a large part of my life today. So I think the background is quite clear. India is really on fire. There's growth all over, and it's now or never. So my mission, my team's mission, is to empower 1,000 owners and CEOs over the next 10 years with two things: business and leadership skills, so that they can grow at least 10 times. And we want to add $100 billion to India's GDP in the next 10 years. So that's the aim with which we have started. In this journey, we are lucky. Of course, I've shared with you my background through Raja. I've served as CFO, CHRO, CMO. So I've gone through all the functions myself, organizations, all this Raja has covered. So let me skip that. So we are lucky to have Dr. Mashelkar as our chief mentor. He's of course from the world of science, innovation and technology, but that's so important for today. He has almost 50 doctorates, and at the age of 82, he still works 16 to 18 hours a day. He gets at least 5 to 6 invites every day for being a chief guest somewhere or the other. But he's giving time to us for a reason that he sees a potential in what we are doing to lift India up. Besides me, I have a few colleagues who are all having experience in their fields. Vijay Rao, he was head of HR at TCS earlier. Yogesh Wagani, Yogesh Bhai is the owner of family, his family owns Milton Plastics. Bhaswar Goswami is from IIM Ahmedabad with the digital background. Darshan Rathore is a finance whiz. Lata Gupta is a very senior coach and expert in HR. Advait is a strategy expert, and Rajiv is a branding, marketing, and sales expert. So that's my team, which runs the Captain's Club. And basically, we have a 6-month program, which is meant for MDs, presidents, owners, CEOs, decision makers, to help them get broader perspective. It's not a teaching, it's a conversation that we want to have with the senior people. It runs for 6 months, from end of June, early July till end of November, December. 2 days a month in Pune for 6 months. 35 plus sessions, and everybody would be in groups of 3-4 each so that they learn from each other. So 3 areas for growth of the people. Number 1 is help them find right opportunities to grow. Second, help them change their current organization, disrupt and help scale up in that. And finally, plan for the next horizon. So we want to give this team of captains the inspiration, the skills, the confidence, the tools, and the ecosystem to grow. So it's a very innovative execution plan, off-site discussions, personal insights, self-awareness, classroom sessions, bonding sessions, panel discussions, inspirational talks, perspective building, and most importantly, everybody does a live project on their own business in the 6 months. So with that, just a few of the sessions that we have for your interest. We do innovation, how to scale up, design thinking, how to create an agile enterprise, who sets strategies there, performance management, about 15 odd sessions in leadership like difficult conversations, management and mythology, which we had Professor Vishal Gupta from IIM Ahmedabad take for all of us last week at Lonavala, the same program. How to increase your charisma, executive presence, listening and feedback skills, right brain awakening by Ma'am Malika Sarabhai from Ahmedabad. Whether you need a coach or not in your life, what is leadership few years from now, whether you need independent directors when you scale up big time. And finally, there are some functional concepts in areas of finance, HR, operations. So I'm just taking you quickly through them because I don't want to divert from the main purpose of our talk today. Importantly, the last one is very important. How do you work with Gen Z and millennials? So this is the structure of the course for 6 months to help people build themselves for achieving 10 times growth. So, and of course, some networking and bonding which happens during the program. So 3 things is what we want to deliver. No one has this range of relevant subject for MDs and CEOs. I'm sorry. The second is we solve a live issue. Like I said, in the live project, you get implementable ideas. Finally, you join a community. You're not just paying money for a movie ticket or a concert. You're joining a forum, a community, and a trust group for life. These are some pictures from the first program that's already completed last week. We had faculty members from all over, 30 faculty members. In the end, I'll say it's lonely at the top because all leaders know that they have to take calls. But what we are doing is we are helping strengthen everyone by the connection. That's our very simple task. And at the end, right from Dr. Mashelkar, Justice Sikri and others, you get a certificate signed by all of them. Okay, so finally I'll leave you with subjects that I normally talk at forums like this, including difficult conversations, leadership and personal mastery, how to be effective, how to meet your numbers, which we are doing today, how to scale up your business exponentially, and family business issues. Okay, so with that, let's move to how to meet your numbers. And please give me a moment to change the presentation. So, as I said, IPL is in the air. And, you know, we are almost like the second team which has a target in front of us. You have your resources, your bowlers, your fielders, who are your, let's say, the team that you have at work, and you have a target. And the question is, how does one achieve? So that's to help you, again, as I said, get into the IPL mood, which is what most of us would have been doing if we were not perhaps sitting here. So let me first ask you, so what are you looking for today? So that I can ensure at the end of the session whether I have served you enough or not. So any expectations from anyone? What do you expect in the next 45 minutes? Anyone? Yes, sir. Outline of an approach. Okay, sure. Anyone else? What do you expect? Yes, sir. Strategy to scale up. Okay, great. Anyone else? Okay, so I have only 2 deliverables, so I think that will be easy to achieve, I hope. So I'm lucky. So let me start with a question. Do organizations have internal slack? Are organizations really running efficiently, or they have slack? That means they are not performing at their best. What do we feel? Do they have slack? Yes, no, yes? Yes, most of us think they have slack. What percentage could be slack? Yeah, but tell me a range of any organization you are familiar with. Is there 2% slack, 3% slack, 5%, 10%? What is it? Anywhere between 20 to 30. Okay, that's one good answer. What else? Anyone else? Yes, sir. 30 to 40? 20 to 40? Okay. So someone is bolder and is saying, okay, even 40% could be the slack. Anyone else? How much could be the slack in an organization? Okay, so let me put my concept on the ground for you. Up to 90% could be the slack in many organizations, including where I have worked, up to 90%. So आप बोल रहे होंगे ये क्या, what is he saying? Is he mad? We are running very efficient companies. It can't happen in my organization. So okay, let's see what could be the reasons. So I put them in a few buckets for easy identification. Let's say people waste. Ineffective meetings. Anybody has gone through ineffective meetings? Yes, no? Yes? Okay. Sometimes you need 4 people in the meeting, but there are 14 in the room. Boss ने सबको बुला लिया है. Anyone connected or potentially connected or unconnected, because sometimes there may not even be a clarity of an organization structure as to who's responsible for what. So let's call everyone so that we have a good meeting. Everybody should be on the same page. So ineffective meetings where right from number of people to the agenda, to the timing, to the closure, to the minutes, I would say most organizations, more than 50% meetings are at least 50% ineffective, at least. So that's my submission to all of you. What else? Underutilized talent, just like I mentioned about Gen Z, the younger generation. But there could be many others also who can actually achieve 5, 10, but you have given them a target or a responsibility of level of 2 or 3. So look at the underutilization. That person with a little bit of nudge direction can achieve 5 or 10. But नहीं, उसको time लगेगा, 6 महीने लगेगा, साल लगेगा. So let's, go slowly. Let's not overload, we may otherwise the person may crash. Actually, people have much more potential. So underutilized talent. Third, lack of training. Person comes, no induction, no onboarding, no orientation, डाल दो उसको काम पे. So what does he do or she does? I mean, basically, you end up wasting a lot of time. The same time, if you have HR to design a proper onboarding where you know the job responsibility and therefore the training to be done. Because today people may be coming and going. You don't have the stability of the past where somebody is in your company, joined and going to work for 10, 20, 30 years. So you better be ready for a bit of churn, a bit of attrition. So lack of training, even in the job that somebody is he or she really trained? Because companies think training is a waste. How to calculate the ROI on training, right? How to calculate? And it may be difficult, but it's your mindset also, it's your approach that are you thinking of your human capital as the most important capital or not? It is also that approach. I'm not saying don't look at ROI, but only ROI perhaps is not something that companies should do. Next, unclear roles. Boss will call 3 people and give them the same task. उनमें से कोई ना कोई तो कर देगा, right? And then they are fighting with each other, creating confusion, or you don't define boundary limits or define them too clearly. So unclear roles, very often, we all struggle because somebody has to conceptualize, somebody has to think through how I'm going to run the organization. And it's possible that when people change, a CFO was there and a new CFO comes. The old CFO was very, very aware of the operations, but the new CFO is not. So you may have to change the role, but you got to put your thought into it. So unclear roles, very often a reason for organizations not performing. Relearning, so easy to learn, but relearn is more difficult, unlearning is even more difficult. So are we doing enough on that front? So I'll go a little faster because this is just to emphasize for all of us that there is infinite scope for improvement in every organization in terms of performance. Where we are and where we can be is a big, big gap. So information waste, let's pick up some examples. There are some Excel sheets still going around even though you have implemented ERP. So what's the point of implementing ERP and spending lakhs and crores and so many months and implementation partner coming and so on and so forth. Data discrepancies, manual checking of data, missing data. All these are things which are creating slowness in the speed or accuracy going for a toss. Similarly, redundant data. You don't need the data, but it's still there. Boss, 5 years back, your MIS format was decided. At that time, the need of the business was something. But 5 years is a long time. Did you remove the columns and rows that are no longer required? No. 99% of companies don't do that. So what happens? Redundant data just keeps getting generated. Somebody is generating, it's passing through, nobody is actually paying attention. Is it what we need? So incorrect data, unnecessary data. So all these are information waste. Then we come to process, one more area, approvals. It's lying on the boss's table for 15 days and there are 20 people waiting for an approval. They are stuck till the boss gives the approval. How much time can get wasted of so many people's time and your ability to achieve something on time? Other bottlenecks, communication barriers. You don't communicate clearly and completely. Incompatible systems, defects, handoffs. When you hand off from purchase to production, for example, is the handoff clear? No, you don't have a process. Incomplete work, multitasking. So recently we had Professor Vishal Gupta teaching us at Lonavala in the Captain's Club. So the multitasking in the session on mindfulness and leadership. How much time? Because when you multitask, every time there is a setup time to start the new activity, which we don't realize, and we all think, including me, 4-5 काम तो मैं एक टाइम पे कर सकता हूँ, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. But there is a price to pay. Reviews and signatures, searching for data, searching for files, unnecessary complexity because some department wants something, useless information, waiting time, workarounds. Okay, so enough. So you can take a picture of this if you want. So these are some of the examples. It's not even complete. This is just to tell you that, hey, you are in a wrong world if you think your organization is very close to perfection. You are not. There is a whole lot of things which you can improve. Okay, so basically the equation is very simple. If there is slack, there is a potential to improve, right? That's the basic premise, that's the basic assumption that I'm making when I share with you the new system. Okay, so let's be honest. Tell me your experience why we can't meet our numbers. How many companies, sorry, how many people here in the room have budgets or targets for themselves? Raise your hands. Okay, so quite a few, more than 50-60%. So what happens? Why can't we meet our numbers? क्या होता है? किस लिए? Why do we see at the end of the month, oh, no. We had a target of 100, we could reach 70 or 80. What happens? What could be the reasons or what are the reasons? Don't worry, it's not an appraisal. Just be honest. Yes, sir, at the last row. Unrealistic targets, for sure. Who else, sir? Yes, sir, go ahead. Say loudly again. Rejection by the client. You supplied something, it didn't meet their requirement. Yeah, that's very honest. Anyone else? Why can't we meet our targets? Yes, sir. Market situations changes. Okay, yeah, valid. Yes, sir. Increasing competition. कल तक हम monopoly था, अभी 2 लोग और आ गए हैं. So the pie has got distributed. What else? Any other reason? Yes, sir. At the end. Global change. Yes. Some new mal from China is coming. What can you do about it? Yes, sir. Newer technology. Sir, in between. Following a traditional approach. We are not changing with the time. What you need to change. Anyone else? Yes, sir. With the blue shirt. Huh? Strategy? Failure. Huh? Failure in the strategy. Yeah, very good. Sir. Unrealistic targets. He hasn't given the resources, but he has set the target. Everest में चढ़ जाओ और इस महीने you are only going up to some small mountain in your backyard. He has to answer the shareholder. He's transferring his pressure without preparation and resources. Very well. Yes, sir. Government approvals have got stuck. Yeah, sure. Very valid reasons. Yes, sir.
Incompetent products or not upgrading the product or services.
You're not upgrading the product and services to meet customer requirements. Excellent. I think you all know and you are experienced that why we can't meet our numbers. There are reasons for that. Okay, so let's see what we want to do. Anybody has monthly reviews? Raise your hands, please. Anybody has monthly reviews? Okay. And anybody has other frequency, weekly, daily, hourly? Anybody weekly reviews? Okay. Some of you. Okay. And what happens when you review monthly? Anybody? I don't want confidential data about your company, but just what do you review when you review monthly? Sir, you raise your hand on monthly. Gaps. But what items do you normally measure? Top line, bottom line. Okay, that's fair. Anyone else? What do you measure when you review in a monthly? Yes, sir. What versus what? Revenue versus net profit. Okay, top line, bottom line. Yes, sir.
Review can be about anything.
Anything?
It can be about the numbers, the objectives set. It can be about the processes set.
Okay.
It can be about how the team is going about achieving the numbers. So it depends on the objective. But yes, result orientedness
Yeah.
is one which is evaluated.
Okay. Yes, sir. Sir, in between. Actual against target. That's it. So you seem to have had a sneak preview of my slides, sir. So मेरा paper leak हो गया लगता है. Okay, so let's come to the flash approach. So what is the flash approach? So it's very simple. I call it a successful practice to help meet the target numbers. So first, the word flash. The word flash comes from when you flash a light in front of you instead of looking back. Okay. So the flash approach comes from that simple word. You are flashing the light to look ahead. Nobody stops you from looking back, but mostly try to look ahead of you. So I call it a successful practice. Why? So the difference is that you have a limited management leadership bandwidth. You are owner or CEO or whatever. You have a top team. So you have a limited bandwidth. So you can use it to review the last month in great detail. Sure, there's learning from that. Or you can use the bandwidth for targeting, achieving that month itself. So that's the key difference. So in the flash approach, I urge people to use the bandwidth in the month for the month to achieve the numbers you have committed for that month. So how do we do it is what I'm going to share. So you can also call it the agile approach. Agile is a very much used word these days, sometimes overused, but agile is important because it gives you a chance to adjust and do whatever while you are still not done with the period which is in front of you. Okay, so how to do it? Again, very simple. I'm giving you a template which you may have to adjust depending on your product and your company. So in the limited time that we have, I can take one example. So therefore, I've taken an example. So I'm saying you do a review, which is a flash. What is that? Actual for a month, for example, we are reviewing on, say today is 10th. What have we achieved on 1st to 9th? And what are we going to achieve from 10th to 31st of May? Some of that is the flash. And you review that every Monday morning. And you compare it with whatever budget you had made for that month. Say for the month of May, the budget was 100. Today on 10th, we do a flash meeting and we say, we have achieved 20 till now and we'll achieve 60 for the balance period. So we are achieving 80 against a budget of 100. And then you take actions during the month to meet the numbers. So we'll come to that as to how to do it. So what does it mean? So it just means that on a Monday morning, you spend 1 or 2 hours basically to make sure you understand where the month is and take the actions on 2 aspects. First is the financial metrics. So you could have top line, bottom line, etc. But equally the non-financial metrics, you could have scrap, you could have productivity, you could have safety issues, you could have, in plants they have OEE, the overall equipment effectiveness. So depending on your business, so these are just examples from the manufacturing world that I have taken here. The same can be done in software, your bench strength, your upskilling you are doing. So each industry, you'll have to tailor the metrics, the items that you review based on your particular industry. So you do both, I'm saying. So typically for a business, I'm saying spend an hour or two on a Monday morning, and then you are set. The whole week is free as far as you as the leader is concerned. So we'll share as to how it is actually done. So as I said, the rest of the week is free, and action will happen. Why? Next Monday again is the next flash. So it is not that you have reviewed once and you are done. You are having the next flash on next Monday again, and the team knows and you know. So I believe that's something, the rhythm or the cadence, which creates the pressure on us to ensure that we don't slacken, and we make sure that the slack is taken care of. So let's take the case of a, let's say, fictitious company, ABCD Polymers, having many plants. So we are reviewing here one plant. So one plant for its total business. So what happens in week one? It shows a very good situation. Maybe the salespeople said, sir, ye mahine mein we'll cross the target. We'll meet much more than the target. Then what happens week two? The reality hits home. I think we were over optimistic. We should have been a little more careful. We should have done a little bit more detailed planning. Then week 3 and 4 is up and down, and week 5, the team works and brings it close to the target. So I'm giving you a helicopter view so that you know in the next few slides, when you see the numbers, this is the context you can keep in your mind. Okay? Please stop me for questions anytime. Any questions till now? Whatever we have covered? Anything not clear? Anything I have gone so fast or not explained properly? All good? Last chance? Going, gone. Okay. So let's move on. So here we go, week 1. So now there are a few numbers here, and let me come on this side and read out the, but okay, you can read it there. So we have for each, so in the flash system, every week you will be doing a review. This is January 24. So as it happens, January 1 is a Monday, 8th is a Monday, 15th is a Monday, 22nd is a Monday, 29th is a Monday. You have the budget for January, the whole of January. And then week 1, the team says, sir, we are producing more than what we had budgeted. 838 was the budget. The actual is 900 plus. So we are 94 more than the budget. This column is flash minus budget. So flash minus budget. So please read it carefully. So you have total revenue, you have the gross margin, you have the variable cost, you have the contribution, you have the fixed cost and total fixed OPEX, you have the EBITDA, EBIT, you have some non-financial indicator like headcount, and then you have a working capital as a target at the end of the month. So this slide is very important. If somebody is not understood, ask me now, because we are going to take it through all the 5 weeks, just so that you can understand what I'm saying. Yeah, Raja.
I think table is clear.
Yeah.
But how many organizations will be ready to capture all the revenue? Yes. But headcount is not a problem. But how many people will be able to capture all this data on a weekly basis?
So the question Raja is asking is, how many people will be able to capture it on a weekly basis? Very few people, because only very few people end up using a proactive approach. Most of us are comfortable in a reactive approach. Okay, but those who want to control their destiny have to push the whole organization to look in front. For example, if my maintenance cost is out of line, my budget was 20 rupees, and actual maintenance cost means, actual means the forecast here is 30 rupees, I should know what happened, because either my budget was wrong or there's some, likely preventive maintenance which is going to increase the cost. So I'm pushing that if you have a budget and you want to achieve it, this system involves the whole organization. Because the whole organization has to prepare the numbers and give it to finance, for example, by Friday evening. Finance puts together on Saturday evening, and Monday morning is when you review it. So I'll come to the mechanics of how to make it happen after I show the numbers. But your question is valid. Many organizations will struggle. But as I said, if you want to control your destiny, you have to put in some effort. You got to put in some effort. And people can do it, provided we as management decide, hey, we want to look at in a way that we are not doing a post-mortem, because that's gone. You review April on 15th of May, what can you do about April? Nothing. April is over, and already 15 days of May are over. So, point taken, but we'll come to how to make it easily happen. I'll cover that. I'll cover that. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Say again. Efficiency? Efficiency sections. Sure. Yeah. So I'm just saying data is available in the company, in your organization, and each person has to be made aware. For example, if you've made a budget that your plant cost should be 100 rupees in a month, if the section head does not know that out of 100 my budget is 15, how will he control it, or how will she control it? So therefore, this is a system in which the whole organization, you are able to use not only their hands and legs, but also their mind. You make them think that what can I do to make sure I meet the numbers. It should not become only the CEO's job to meet the numbers. You are delegating it, you are pushing it, you are cascading it all across the organization so that the whole organization is involved. So that's the whole purpose for this. Any other questions, any other observation? Yes, ma'am. You didn't understand? EBITDA. Oh, this is earning before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization. It's a financial term. It is like you have PAT, PBT. EBIT and EBITDA are also financial terms. It's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization. Okay? So don't get confused by financial terms. Idea here is for us to learn that, and each organization can decide up to what depth or what detail you want to make it.
How much is the healthy EBITDA of any organization?
Oh, okay. So it can vary from 10 to 70%, depending on the business you are in. If you are in auto components, many people are happy with 10%. Okay, especially if you are not having a high investment in the manufacturing, if you're doing mainly assembly. But if you're having a high investment in, for example, manufacturing, I worked in a company where we were making the body for Volkswagen and Skoda cars. So in our business, 20-25% is the minimum. But if we were only buying components and assembling them, means no big capex investment, then 10-12% also could have been okay, because EBITDA is finally got to be related to capital employed, right? And you go to software industry, if they have less than 30-40%, they are not happy at all. So again, so industry specific, you must check what you did last year and try to improve on that. What competition is doing, trying to reach that. Yeah. Healthcare industry. I have not worked in healthcare industry so far, so I don't want to give you a guess answer. But there are experts in this room. Huh? 10 to 15%. Okay. Yeah. Yes, somebody? Which products? So in engineering industry, I would say 15-20%, depending on how much you have invested in the capex. If you are capex heavy, like in big presses and so on, you are likely to have a higher target because you have to cover depreciation, amortization and so on. That will be very large, even interest on the loans, right? But if you are mostly in assembly, like say you make seats, but you are buying tube from somebody, the cushion from somebody, you are only assembling it, then you can even work with 10% EBITDA, not a problem. I hope that gives people an answer. It's not a class in finance, but I'm happy to clarify anything. Okay, so on this slide, are we okay? So this is week 1 in January 24. 932 is what the team says we'll achieve. The budget was 838, so we are doing better on profit and all other parameters. So month looks good. Everybody goes to Agashi and has a nice dinner and enjoy themselves. The whole team goes, right? After this first week Monday morning review. बहुत अच्छा है. बड़े बदू सरस छे. My Gujarati is not so great, but I'll try. And so no question at this stage? Okay. So what happens is, in this, always I say, within 1 hour of the meeting, the minutes should be out. Whatever is the action, if any, to be taken, who will take, by when, and by when it has to be reported. So that's a discipline. If you follow, then the loop is completed, so to say. Otherwise, minutes aane mein 3 din lagenge, action. But the next Monday, your next meeting is there. So in 1 hour, 3, 4, 5 points, just circulate it. Okay, so let's come to week 2. Okay, week 2 is a shock. What was 932 becomes 782. Suddenly the marketing team says, sir, that customer, their schedule has dropped by 50%. What can we do? Something outside our control, etc., etc. So what it means to the bottom line, against a budget of 50 EBITDA, we are down to 35. We are, of course, we have cut down our staff by some levels and so on. But it's a bad situation. It's a situation where we really are hit by a shock. Does it happen in business real time? Yes, no? Happens? Yes. Most of us believe it happens because there are surprises, unpleasant surprises. So then what do? The question is, what does one do? So let's see what happens here. So the boss says, I want a new plan with daily updates. He didn't say that in week 1 because week 1 looked very good. Now he says, मुझे रोज 6 बजे क्या नया inquiry आया, क्या sales में हो रहा, I want a detailed action plan every day. I want to see. So you are seeing the difference. Now you are able to hopefully change your month. What was looking 782 here, with your action, you can improve it. Does it make sense? Is it clear to everyone? That you are taking action within the month for the month, so that you meet the numbers of that month. Not a post-mortem after that month is over, because then everybody has very good excuses. I am the best in my company in giving excuses. Because I can, generate a lot of, sir, wo problem tha, ye problem tha, marketing didn't cooperate, or plant didn't supply, quality mein issue tha. So here all that is done. Why? If anybody has an issue, they will raise in this meeting that I need such and such help to meet this number. So you move on to a daily update instead of, earlier the boss had said, okay, see you next Monday. That's it. You guys do your work, whatever is required to be done. Now he says, every day I want an update. And if the things become bad, he'll say, twice a day I want an update. What is happening? So what happens with that when you ask for update as the boss? What happens? क्या फर्क पड़ता है? कुछ फर्क पड़ता है या नहीं? Yes, no? No. Who said no? So who are your people? You have hired them or somebody else has hired them? आपके घर में कुछ विभीषण बैठा हुआ है. So you got to fix them. If it's not happening, then fix them. Yeah, Raja. Yes.
But to get a better picture of the month, we have to work with the cumulative numbers for the week 1 plus week 2.
Yeah. So.
And compare it with the cumulative budget for the week.
No, I explained that in the beginning, that always we will be looking at the budget for the month. So the week 2, the one I showed you here, is a summary of what has happened already till 7th and what is the forecast for the balance 24 days. So this is the number for the whole month, not the number for the week. Against 838 target for the month, your actual plus forecast for the month is 782. No. This is the flash for the month. This is not the actual. This is the flash for the month, not the actual. Yeah, it's the flash made every week for the month. Yes. So what looked very rosy, that's why everybody went to Agashi for a nice dinner. and they enjoyed the music, live music, etc., etc. But अगले week में थोड़ा situation अभी clear हो गया. So the dinner is this week, no dinner at Agashi. Any other question? Anybody else not clear till now? Because this is very crucial. If you understand week 1 and 2, then the rest of the weeks will be easier to understand. So, so you're taking again very, very quick action. 1 hour after the meeting, HR has to do this, marketing has to do this, finance has to do this, whatever is the issue, you sort it out and make sure the team says, yes sir, we will do it this month, we will meet the target of 838 that we have for the month. Okay, let's come to week 3. What happens? Week 3, after the push of a daily update, it's moved up slightly to 828. Means 828 is the estimated number for the whole month against a target of 838. From 782, you move to 828. It's basically illustrative. It's a hypothetical case to say that management's focus always yields results because you are saying daily update. So everybody's under pressure. The sales manager is telling all his salesmen, boss, तू मुझे दिन में 3 बार report करेगा. Earlier he was happy once a week. सब ठीक है ना? हाँ sir, सब ठीक है. Now he's saying report to me because I have to report in the evening every day to the CEO. So you better report to me every day twice or thrice. So it is cascading through the organization. The last person is getting impacted and they are contributing to achieving the numbers. So overall, I'm saying we are getting better. But well, when you start getting better, so this time the boss is not saying, I want daily update. Okay, you're almost there, you've reached 95% and so on. So next week again, people became a little satisfied and complacent. So again, it's up to the boss to ask for action. I have not written it here, just for the sake of not repeating for you people. And finally, end of the month, they reach 851 with the efforts of everyone. And let's say against a target of 838. So this is a column here, flash minus budget, and also this week versus last week. So you can see each week how the numbers are evolving, right? What is the change that your focus has brought to the numbers? So again, a very forward-looking approach. So I'll stop here with all these numbers on the screen. Any questions? Because now we'll get into, assuming you have understood what I've explained, we'll get into like what each of us in an organization can do about it. So any questions here on the numbers? Otherwise, I'll seek your permission to move on. Are we good? Okay. So fine. So action plan again, week 5 was good. So let's say, what are the assumptions that I made when I said this flash system will work? Number 1 is the team is aligned. Everyone knows where to go. लोगों को मालूम है हमारा क्या strategy है, हम क्या कर रहे हैं. Not that people are just coming into the meeting just like that. People are aligned in your team. It's an HR issue. It's a management issue. It's a leadership issue. It is not a finance issue. So therefore, this flash approach is not a finance department's responsibility. It's a collective leadership responsibility. The second, the financial goals and targets are clear, available for every month, and you can split them up for every week. So you have targets for the month. If you don't have targets, there's nothing to compare. If you don't have a target of 838, whether you achieve 500 or 900, you can go to Agashie, whether you had 500 or 900. But if you have a target, if you're a target-driven company, which I recommend you to consider, not for everything, not for all situations, but in most situations, if the team is working toward a target, you are basically moving higher towards your potential. So, number 3, top management has some role in it. You are disciplined in holding effective, constructive reviews and walking the talk, being in the front lines. It means you know what's going on. The Japanese call it gemba, go to the spot. The Americans call it smell the coffee. Can you smell the coffee? Or you're sitting in your ivory tower, your air-conditioned room of the boss or the CEO or the owner, and you don't know what really is happening in your organization. Then there's a problem because you are disconnected. And also, very often, the boss says, look, I'm on holiday, no weekly meeting. Next week, oh no, I have a relative at home. Third week, something else. Then the people say, अरे यार वो खुद नहीं आ रहा है तो हम क्यों इतना मेहनत कर रहे हैं. So the interest and the cohesion and the work that people are doing will keep on reducing. So that system will go flat very soon. Similarly, somebody raised a very nice point, including Raja. So I'm saying there should be a stretch in the budget numbers, but not an impossible one. If it's impossible, people won't try. If you have sold 100 last year and this year you say, with the same everything, product, strategy, market, resources, let's make it 200. It's not going to happen. You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan how from 100 you will reach 200. Without that plan, just simply giving a target because you're the boss is not going to work. So stretch is good, but not an impossible one. Then people won't try also. The next, the data should be fairly clean. Otherwise, in the meeting, the disputes start. HR says, हमारा salary cost ये है. Finance says, no, इतना नहीं ये है. So आधा meeting तो data में ही निकल जाता है in the disputing the data. So data should be clean, and all that should be done before the meeting. And finally, the team is charged and comes prepared to the meeting for action. You are coming to the meeting to say, hey, we all set this target for ourselves, let's achieve it. If the team, you are able to build that spirit, you are one step further in trying to ensure. So again, I'm repeating, Flash approach is not just a finance approach. Flash approach is a combination of leadership, management, finance, and everything else which makes your company, your organization, your team, whatever. You may be responsible for only 3 people. You can still use this approach if you want to. Okay, so any questions, any thoughts, any observations till now? Anybody wants to say something? I'm happy to. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Say loudly. What about the creativity? So repeat your question from beginning. Yeah.
I'm coming from marketing strategies.
Yeah.
So I have to deliver creative thoughts and
Yes.
ideas every time.
Yeah.
But it's not possible every time to deliver on timely manner every time.
So if you are in marketing team and having responsibility for giving creative ideas, that's going to happen between Monday 11 a.m. after the flash till Saturday evening. Because then you give those ideas to the team, say, marketing will give ideas to the salespeople, hey, you can attack this market, or we'll give you this collateral, or we'll give you this website change, so that you can get more sales. So you will be doing the creativity to support sales and help sales achieve the target. Does it make sense? Okay? Yep. Any other question? Anyone else? Please ask difficult questions. That's the only way I'll get clarity on whatever I'm saying. So I'm happy to answer any question. Okay, if there's none, then we move on. So let's say, how is it done? So good question from Raja in the beginning. So very simple. Finance team gets all inputs of actuals and flash, which means actuals till date and the forecast for the rest of the month from every single cost center owner in the company. Every single cost center owner in the company and revenue owner in the company has to give the actual and forecast. So you get it typically, I'm saying by Friday 1 p.m. Then what do? Finance puts it together, cleans up the data and circulates everything to the management team, say by Saturday 1 p.m. So you have some time on Saturday and if required on Sunday or a Monday morning to see it, and then you review Monday morning 9 a.m. You finish by 10, you are done. You finish your review as a manager, as a leader, as a CEO, as an owner, and the whole of the week is free for the team because they know what they have to achieve. And wherever there is a problem, then you have an action plan. But largely, you are not doing micromanagement every day. Sales bata kya hua, kya nahi hua. Then you become responsible for the sales. But if you tell them, you achieve it. What support do you need? You give the support. So it's real-time management without micromanagement. You are not micromanaging your team. You are giving them the freedom. Boss, you need the resources. Here they are. Go and achieve it. Where do you need help? With me or other departments, talk about it. Make sense to everyone? Yeah? Please keep asking questions. There's no problem for me. So will it work? Yeah, Raja.
I was wondering, how can you use the flash approach for companies who are into
So the question is how to use flash approach for companies which are into project sales and execution. Naturally, say somebody is executing a large desulfurization plant for Indian Oil or whatever. So the answer is very simple. Yes, you can, because you would have in that an activity forecast for the next week, milestone completion. So you pick up those milestones and you can put a percentage to those milestones and use a combined number and then see which milestones you're not able to achieve, which are crucial, which need support, and so on and so forth. Is that okay? Okay. Yes, sir. Absolutely. What milestones in your project report that you have to submit to your client, and what new orders you need to win, how many clients are in your pipeline, what's your funnel looking like, which team is getting more business, which team is not getting business, assuming you have, say, different consultants for different lines of business. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, because hospital, you have a top line, you have a bottom line, you have expenditure, you know what's your daily patient intake, you know the average revenue per patient, you have all that. So then based on that, of course, hospital, because it's linked to patient care, I think financial targets sometimes can be counterproductive, because to achieve a good revenue, some patients may go out not vertical but horizontal, so you know. so you got to have that caveat in mind, but I think you can use anywhere. I mean, what is it that is so different or rocket science in this? It's simple. It's just a proactive approach. You're pushing everyone. So the patient intake is again dependent on your funnel and flow and so on. But what you do about it internally in terms of cost, in terms of billing, whatever, and in terms of your efficiencies, how much support staff do you have? Is it the best in the industry? Can you make it better? So many things to improve are there. Like anywhere else, like I showed the waste, different kinds of waste. Okay? So will it work and is it better? Any thoughts? Will it work and is it better? Any thoughts from anyone else? Yes, sir. Not relevant to this, but you have a question. Go ahead. Individual level family business. Every individual in the family business will be responsible for something or the other of the business, say sales, production, marketing, whatever responsibility is given. And each of those responsibilities have KRAs, right? And they all together end up in the final P&L as well as other non-financial indicators in the business. So people who are responsible have to report to finance, and finance puts together the the numbers for financial and non-financial indicators for a review on Monday morning. Answers your question? Yeah? Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. So I've heard your observation and comments. If anybody has any hurdles, please tell me. To make it happen, what do you need? I would say three things. Communication, patience, and determination. The management must decide this system makes sense. I am going to implement it. And from the day you decide to implement, it will still take you easily 3 to 6 months. Easily. Because it's a moving ship. You want to change the direction. You want to change the thinking. You want to change the approach. So it's going to take a little time. That's why you need to have patience and determination. And communicate to everyone why you want to implement it. Not because Raman Nanda came to Ahmedabad Management Association and said something, but because it makes sense for you in your business to proactively control what you are doing and achieve your numbers. So that's something, if it sinks in you, then you are in a much better position to communicate it also. Because if you are not convinced yourself, you can't convince anyone else, right? Do you agree? So therefore, we have to be convinced first. It makes sense for our business and it has these advantages. So coming to the last few slides, you still have a monthly review meeting? I would say yes, have it, but use it to reconcile numbers of the week 5 with the actuals. Because week 5, whatever the flash was, compare it to the actuals. And if there are big differences, take action. Because if somebody had said expense will be 100, but real expense came 120, there is some problem somewhere in either that department or in finance, which is communicating. Small non-repetitive differences, ignore. Then many companies never review the balance sheet. They only review the P&L. Friends, Balance sheet is also something that needs review. What is your cash position? What is the movement in your payables, in your receivables, and so on and so forth. So most businesses ignore the balance sheet. It is not that, I don't know the right word to use, but it's not that attractive. So please do that, and use the time for brainstorming and discussing issues on, discussing key business issues, strategy, how to change your strategy, etc., etc. You get much more time because you are now free for the 5 days and 6 hours after those 2 hours you have invested. So let's say, what are the learnings and action as far as I would look at it? It's a marathon. You have to be at it. Munna bhai, lage raho, as they say. Consistency beats intensity. If you are consistent, you will start improving. Your people will start joining you as a team to help you plan and achieve the numbers. All organizations have slack, as we all saw in the beginning. Frequency of reviews is key, and ensuring that the top management participation and not using it to cancel meetings. I say use past knowledge, but always look ahead, because past knowledge is important. But if you use it, then it's important, not to fire somebody that, look, you're a non-performer, etc., because people will give you excuses. Right, so people ask, is there a real difference you can make by these reviews? So I've put down a few things you can do if you start reviewing it. For example, if there's an issue on the customer side, a senior person can intervene, either for getting an order or for payment. Month khatam hone ke baad aap kuch nahi kar sakte. But first week, if you get to know, as the owner, as the manager, you can take some action. You can talk to the customer and ensure the order comes or the payment comes and you meet your target. So there is a possibility for you to do that. What else? You can redeploy resources. One department is having a slack. Another department is having overactivity. Transfer the resources rather than at the end of the month saying, oh, you should have told me before. I could have given you resources. No, that excuse is no longer valid. It is not possible because you are seeing every week. You redeploy. Finance is having a lean season. Audit is over. And somebody in the sales accounting is not there. Transfer people. So redeploying you can do. It's up to you. Number 3, you can, issue-based review. You can keep changing the frequency. Like you saw in the week 2, he said, give me every day an update. So instead of every week, you want an update every day. What else can you do? You can postpone some lower priority expenditure by the same or the other departments when you are not meeting the targets. So many things are in our hand. Finance can talk to bankers for short-term arrangements if working capital is short. You can get a specialist to help from within or outside the organization. So all these are real things you can do once you are looking at them proactively and not as a post-mortem, the month is over, what to do about the last month. So any thoughts, any questions here? Okay, so that's all I can say. This is how we can meet our numbers. So thank you for your time, everyone. So the last point I'm saying is most issues will have a resolution within the month if you can get to know early enough. Colleagues can chip in, you can brainstorm and do many more things to meet your numbers. So I'm saying bring the IPL Josh in your team with this approach. So good luck with all your efforts to meet your numbers. Thank you once again, all of you.
Thank you, Raman.
Please fill up the feedback form. I want to learn from what the presentation is and how I can make it better to serve another group, hopefully, in a better way. And any questions? Yeah, if there are any questions, I'm here. And incidentally, I'm in Ahmedabad tomorrow also. If anybody wants to meet me.
One at the back. Yes?
Yeah,
State
please
your
go
question.
ahead.
Please go ahead.
Just after this review mechanism, does it create any unnecessary pressure situation?
Unnecessary pressure situation. Define unnecessary pressure.
अभी हमको रिव्यू करना पड़ेगा तो मतलब लाइक देर आर टू मैनी इंस्टेंसेस के वो प्रेशर बन ही जाता है कि अभी रिव्यू करना है तो कैसे करेंगे नेक्स्ट वीक.
So tell me, when there is a monthly review, is there a pressure or no pressure?
It is a pressure.
So isn't pressure a part of our life?
Yeah,
when you want to achieve something.
Yes.
Even reaching AMA in time for the meeting could have been pressure with the traffic. But pressure is a part of things. So it's just that proactively you feel also nice after the pressure is there by achieving the numbers. That's what I would say.
I want to share something which one of my customers told me. I went with one of my OEM customers to an end user. The OEM customer was in trouble, he was not able to make delivery. So he went to the end user and say, क्या यार है धंधा में इतना स्ट्रेस है वो है क्या करें यार. तो the end user, he was a Marwadi businessman. He said, आपको स्ट्रेस नहीं चाहिए, बिजनेस में स्ट्रेस नहीं चाहिए तो बाबा बन जाओ. तो यू गो एंड रिलैक्स समवेयर. बिजनेस में तो स्ट्रेस होने वाला ही है. You have to learn how to manage the stress.
Any activity in life where you want to achieve, you want to catch a train at 5 in the morning, there's stress. But will you stop catching a train because of stress? No. So this is like that. If you are in business, willingly, nobody has forced you.
Have you been in Bombay? Everybody will be going to the station saying 8:13 local पकड़ने का है, 7:48 local पकड़ने का है.
Correct.
They will all be at the same time.
Yeah.
Same people will be traveling in the same compartment for years together.
Let's take some more questions, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. It's a necessary pressure. Yeah. Stress can also be positive. Yes, sir. I ran it for 9 years in my own company, in the company I was working in. 9 years. Sorry? Yes, 100%. Every Monday morning. And my boss sitting in Shanghai used to review me every Monday morning. He had 13 plants, but every Monday he would review all 13. I had 4 plants under me, 4 and the 9 others. So 1 hour for those 4 plants. Because the thing is, once you are in motion, you are only going to spend time on the variances, right? Gradually, people start falling in line. Either it's a problem that you can't do anything about. Say one customer has gone bankrupt, then no one can do anything about except whatever you can to get other customers. But I'm just saying, I have run it for 9 years. It's effective. It works. Next question. Somebody raised the hand there? No. Okay. Have I been? Is it too clear or totally unclear? I hope it's clear. Sorry. Okay, Raja.
I think. Thank you, Raman, for incisive views on how to meet numbers and what kind of processes one can adapt to meet the numbers. I think this was more important. All practical suggestions, nothing theoretical, nothing academic. I think I'm sure that lot of us who are in as professionals or managing businesses would have a lot of takeaways from this, and probably we can start changing our systems and processes within our company. And one important thing that he noticed, he never talked about it, is the not too much stress. I think apart from leadership development, the most important byproduct of this is team building.
Yeah.
It's going to build a team.
Sure.
And I think, and that's the collective strength of the team. I think, like what Obama said, together we can. So I think that's very important, and I think a team can achieve anything.
If I can add one thing, I think they say planning is nothing. Sorry, plans are nothing, but planning is everything. This system pushes everyone right from the shop floor to the ultimate salesperson who's visiting the dealers or at the counter to start planning, because without that input of planning and thinking, you can't really improve. So this is something which is a very useful byproduct of the system, that everybody starts planning how to meet next week's numbers, how to meet next month's numbers, and so on. So one is the team building, and second is individual improvement at all levels is also a great byproduct of this system.
And as a corollary to that, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think with these few words, I think thank you, Raman, for
Thank you,
your wonderful speech. And any one of you can always contact, have his contact numbers.
So my number is here. I am also in Ahmedabad tomorrow for the whole day. Practically, I have at least 2-3 hours available.
And
If anybody wants to take help, advice, all free. I'm happy to spend half an hour or something with any one of you who may want some clarity. I am at AMA Guest House, not very far. So happy to support the very entrepreneurial community of Ahmedabad. Thank you for all the love and affection and such a large audience today. Really, I'm very, very grateful. And once again, thank you from my side.
so Raman, this is a small brochure on
Thank you, thank you. Let's look at him and take a picture together. Thank you.
So I'm sure that Ahmedabad Management Association will be pleased to have more of your sessions in the coming years. I'm sure, and I'm sure that there may be a few people who are running their family businesses who may be ready to take your advice, because you are advising so many family businesses anyway. And with these few words, thank you very much. Thank you for all your presence. And I think there has not been even one person who has moved out of this hall, and they have stayed through it, and lot of questions, lot of interactive sessions. I think it was a most interesting evening for me too. Thank you, Raman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
once again.